All right, we are live on the old TikTok. Hello, hello. I'm just going to leave it a couple of seconds for people to come and join in. And if anybody's going to watch this pre-recorded, first and foremost, salute. My name is Neil Bhuiyan. I am a sales coach. I work within technology or startup sales or software sales, if you want to make that a little bit more easier. And what I do is I help salespeople to become happy sellers. And the way that I do that is by providing sales training, or sales coaching. And my background, or kind of the headlines, I've worked 15 years within tech sales. I've trained, coached, and managed over 2,000, maybe near enough 3,000 salespeople to date. And in terms of job titles, I've been what we call a sales development rep, so the business developer at the beginning of a sales cycle. I've been the SDR manager, leading those people. I've been the account executive, the person that closes a deal from those people. And then I've been the customer success manager, the person that looks after the customers that have been closed. So I've done all the commercial roles. The thing that makes me the most happy is helping other people win and succeed within sales. But why do I do that? And why do I like that? Earlier on, and within a lot of people in sales, they're motivated by money and there's some big cash, commission, checks, all of that stuff. And that's what it was like for me. But then it gets to a certain point where money isn't so much a big motivator, but it's progression. And over the careers, when I've gone into those different sort of roles, I've helped myself progress by helping other people progress and get success. And FYI, I am an MC/rapper outside of sales and I spit bars. But in terms of happiness and fulfillment, that's what I get from doing it. So for the past couple of years, I run my own company called HappySelling.io. And some people may wonder, okay, what's the theme and name behind all of that? So when I once worked at a software company, I got some sales training from a really cool guy called John Barrows. He's like a goat, in my opinion, based out in the US. And he used to end his sales training or his YouTube videos, which I used to also watch as well, by saying happy selling. That stuck with me. A couple of years later, I went in to go work for a software company that sold a sales tool to salespeople. And that was called Showpad. And kind of the phrases I used to say, because we were selling to salespeople, I used to put hashtag happy selling at the end of my emails. And then when I became a trainer for that company, training salespeople on how to use the software, I used to end my sales training by saying, happy selling to you. But you can see these two little thumbs here as well, right? So if you go look at my company's logo, you'll see it's a H. But some people don't notice, and this is more a design thing, it's actually two hands, which make the H. Happy selling. And my ethos is, if we can create a world of happy sellers, that would get us to have happy prospects who like salespeople, because the connotations of salespeople can sometimes be a bit cutthroat. It's all about cash and all of that. It's so much more than that. So what my mission has been is to create a world of happy sellers where people enjoy the art of selling and prospecting specifically, or business development and booking meetings and getting in touch with cold prospects. That's kind of been my vision, and that's why it's happy selling. And also another fun fact, because I was talking to a founder the other day, my company mascot is an astronaut, and we call him Sydney the SDR. Why it's Sydney, I don't know, but it just went with... Anyway, but the point being was the reason I have an astronaut, in a lot of tech startup companies, they have what we call like a rocket ship to signify that it's a startup, like a launch, a startup. And when I came in with my company, a lot of sales training companies were always focused on training the company, impressing the CEOs and the VPs of sales. But from my point of view, the SDRs or sales development reps are one of the hardest jobs in tech and in sales, and they do a lot of work. And my focus was on focusing on those people. So coming back to the astronaut bit, rather than the rocket ship, I focus on the astronauts that are flying that ship or that company. And that's kind of where it all is. So there's a little bit of history and insight in happy selling, if you didn't know, and give you some context to all that sort of stuff there as well. I ain't been on one of these TikTok lives for a while because I've been hella busy. Hella busy sales training, hella busy sales coaching. So I thought I'd give an update as to what's going down. But also to say, if you are looking for a sales coach, somebody to help with your prospecting, or if you're closing deals, or perhaps you work in customer success and you're upselling and cross-selling accounts, and you need somebody that's worn the shoes of those roles and also speaks to 30 to 40 salespeople a week from different all companies, give your boy a shout. I'd be more than happy to be your coach. But I give some reasons why you wouldn't want me as a sales coach. So I'm not the sort of person that's just going to give you all the answers. I'm not just going to come to you with templates and blueprints and PDFs and say, do it the Neil way. because that doesn't work for everyone. I'm also not the sort of person that will work with somebody who won't be looking to do the work themselves. Like, I can show you the path, but I'm not going to be the person that walks the path for you as well as your coach. So if you're looking for somebody that understands what you're going through, has worn your sort of shoes, you're looking to grow your career, and you're looking to have somebody that's been around all different type of commercial discussions, and also had the benefit of working with over 15 startups from financial services, cybersecurity, HR, technology. I've been around the block. Shouts out to my peeps from Russia. I hope I've got that right as well. I can't pronounce it, so apologies on that one. But if you could let me know, that'd be super cool. And if you can give us a like and a follow or a heart, that would help out with reach. So I wanted to share a couple of stories of as to what's been going down this week to kind of give anybody some insight into a little bit of coaching and life, but also help them out with their careers if they're looking to get into sales or business development. So, like, to give you a bit of context, the way it works, most people like booking a Zoom session with me, and I'm like a sales therapist, right? So you would come into a Zoom or an online meeting, Teams, Google Meet, whatever it is, doesn't really matter. And you come to me with your problems. You come to me with your challenges. So those could be, Neil, I'm trying to figure out how to do prospecting on cold outreach with emails. Or Neil, I need to build my confidence with cold calling. Or it could be, Neil, I want to up my LinkedIn game and I want to start booking meetings in the DMs. Or it could be, Neil, I'm a brand new sales rep. I've never done sales in my life. None of this makes sense. I don't understand the acronyms and all of that. And I'm really struggling. And I'm too scared to go to my boss in fear of looking incompetent for the role that they've just hired me for. Or it could be, I'm working with a lot of great people in my company, but it'd be nice to get an outside perspective on my emails, my calls, my performance. Or Neil, I'm trying to get a promotion and I'm trying to hit President's Club and I just don't know how to get there. Those are the reasons why most people book in a session with me, and I can help with all of those things. But with this as well, shouts out to everybody joining. My name is Neil to the B. I am your sales coach, your favorite sales coach from Happy Selling. So they book in these sessions with me, and I'm talking about 30 to 40 bookings a week from different sales reps from different companies and different countries and selling different products. And that's something I'm really privileged to have, because I'm not working with one company, one product and training and helping and coaching that team. I'm doing multiple. And I'm also helping sales leaders as well. And I also do a daily webinar on cold calling, like a coach on call, where you can come to your calls with a whole bunch of other people. Again, thank you to everybody. And I've got a flash goal. What is a flash goal? I am new to TikTok. 3 gifters send a rose for your live in 15 minutes. Let's go back. Cool. Have no idea what this means. If anybody wants to send a gift, if you're able to, I'd love you for it. I don't know how it works, but is this like cryptocurrency? And we got Inez as well, our favorite sales pros in the game. Thank you very much, Inez. Again, if you can give us a like, if you can give us a share and let other people know, that shows how you care. Thank you very much. Oh, what are we doing? The gimbal's moving again. Anyway, so as I mentioned earlier on, I'm doing sales coaching sessions. And again, I can never talk about who I've spoken to in those coaching sessions, but I can definitely talk to you about the themes to see if it can help you out. So see this like a little bit of sales coaching, free sales therapy. But the ones I want to book, if I'm just like looking at my calendar of the bookings that I've had this week, I think number one would be great, where I was speaking to somebody working in the AI world. So they're selling an AI technology. And this person initially, when they came into the sessions, are like, they didn't really know what they wanted to get from coaching, and they feel that they're good on everything that they're doing in terms of sales. Granted, they've only been doing it for about a year, but they actually are really good at what they do. But what I loved about this individual was, Neil, I'm really good at emailing. I'm not so good on the cold calling bit. But what I'm really struggling with is, moving my deals through the pipeline and figure out when should I touch in with a customer, when should I check up, and when should I do all this sort of stuff. So the beautiful thing, what we're able to do is, I think when it comes to self-awareness, I said this to somebody else in a coaching session, self-awareness is not talking about what you're just really crap at or what you're not really good at, right? That's just self-deprecating behavior. Self-awareness, in my opinion, is knowing what you're also really good at, but where you need to also be improving as well. And a big shout out to my lady Inez as well. Thank you so much for joining us live. Because that's self-awareness, knowing your strengths and knowing your weaknesses, but then having a coachable mindset of the things that you want to work on. Because the worst type of people to come for me for coaching are the ones like, I know everything, I know how to email, I know how to cold call, I know how to do this. Then what's the point of having a session? There must be some sort of gap or something that you're looking to improve upon. But with this guy, what he was able to do is walk me through his sales process, and it looks elite. It looked fine. But what he was looking for was to improve upon other things, to move things across the deal line a little little bit quicker. So I think what we're able to do in those sort of sessions is I say, oh, show me your process, and then I'll show you my process, because I'm also a seller for my own company. I have to close my own business. And what he liked was he's typically trying to take this person through a sales process, and they get to a certain point and then they get stuck. And he just says, I keep getting to this bottleneck. And I said to him, once you got to this step of, potentially having that disco and doing that demo, what do they know happens if they close a deal? And he says, what do you mean? I said, do they know? Do you talk about onboarding? Do you talk about like setup? Do you talk about training? He's like, no, we just kind of close it and then they get put into that team. I said, maybe that's where the problem is. Because imagine if you're on a bridge, right? And your customer is here. And this is where your account management or the people that are going to take them over. Your customer's here and they've got this massive fear of what does it look like on the other side of the bridge. So what they're looking for is that guide or that salesperson to say, well, look, typically if you do sign, you get the training, you get the onboarding, you get the support. They're going to build a mutual success plan. They're going to give you all this sort of stuff, right? And if you want to go have a call with them before you sign the deal, to see that this is a good fit for you. And he said, you know what, I haven't thought about that. And the point that I wanted to bring here is we know our process, we know our product, we know what the next step looks like, but our prospects don't, especially if they're meeting you for the first time and they're doing this sort of thing for the first time as well. Erin, thank you very much. Thank you for joining the live, sending you a hello. Again, my name is Neil to the B. I am your favorite sales coach. If you can please give this a like, give me a heart, give me a follow, give me a share. It shows that you care. And I just want to help as many people as I can to help me get my voice out of there. Or out there, maybe, I don't know. So yeah, with this person, so that was kind of the first session that I had today. So again, if you can help visualize or tell your customers or your future customers, what does it look like on the other side of the bridge, they may feel more comfortable crossing that bridge and then closing and then going over, right? Another session that I had today, somebody who is brand new to sales, and I kind of have like a 3-point course. It's like an express onboarding course for new sales reps, right? And in session 1, we talk about time management and how to manage your time to be productive, but also how to hit your target month on month. Very important for a brand new salesperson. The second session, we go into like how to go outbound or how to do cold outreach and how to target and approach accounts. And then in session 3, we do like a cold calling audit. So it is an element of a role play. And most people groan, we don't want to do a role play, but they are helpful and useful from my opinion. But what we do is it's more a case of, I don't know what my gimbal's doing. It's moving around. It's giving you a tour of my kitchen. Will we come back in? I love it. Hands free. Maybe it's because I'm moving my hands. Anyway, coming back to this thing. So the cold calling audit is more a case of like, you show me how you cold call. And the goal is not to book a meeting in this role play, but show me how you go in the beginning. Show me how you go into the middle. Then show me how you go into the end. And then you get real-time feedback from somebody rather than an AI bot or waiting for your manager to give you some sort of feedback. Thank you very much. Inez, I love the bridge analogy. Cool. But coming back to this person, when I showed him this course, he initially came into this saying, like, I want to help with objection handling. I need to know how to do LinkedIn social selling. I need to, know how to move quickly into an account executive. And I was like, dude, how long have you been in your role? He's like, about 2 months. And I was like, okay, you got time. You don't need to rush stuff, right? But I said, like, what is one of your blockers? And he said, I don't know. And this is sometimes what happens in coaching. You don't know the help you need. And that's why it's sometimes nice to have a coach to kind of give you a couple of ideas. So I kind of said to him, typically when people come through this mini like onboarding course, we do time management because people find that their time management sucks and they're not as productive. He said, stop right there. He said, that bit. He said, I'm doing hundreds of tasks every day. Things are not finished. I'm pushing it on pause in my HubSpot. I'm getting to the end of the day and it doesn't feel like I've just finished sort of stuff off. In 2 months, I want to be a head of sales. And you will be, Inez. You will be. The power of manifestation compels you. So I was telling him, like, time management is a good place to start. But the reason why is it good? Because if you're going into prospecting or if you're going into selling, if you cannot manage your time, time will get away from you. And, you will struggle on tasks, on follow-ups, on doing demos, on doing discovery calls, on prospecting, on, doing your social selling on LinkedIn. If you don't have your time on lock, you won't get a lot done. And this is where I see a lot of burnout happen. Calendars are just more like placeholders. I have the intention of doing these calls, but kind of the tips I wanted to give, which I can share here, right? So if you think about an average week, hello, Derek. Lovely to see you. Thank you very much for joining on board. My name is Neil to the B. I am your favorite sales coach from HappySelling. If you can give me a like, follow, share, or give me a heart, or whatever this TikTok stuff does. It shows you care. I want to get more people and get them helped out there. But anyway, coming back to the time management, if you think about in a week, there are 186 hours in a week, which sounds like a lot. But 40 of those hours, you are typically working your career or your 9 to 5, meaning you have on average about 8 hours of a working day. But not every day goes to plan because we have something called distractions. So distractions could be phone calls, it could be a Slack message, it could be LinkedIn, it could be your bestie at work saying, hey, do you want to go out for lunch? Or it could be your manager saying, hey, we're having an all hands, would you like to jump on? And these distractions are just normal part of life. But did you know you receive on average 7 to 10 distractions per day? I'm gonna take this gimbal crap off. Cool. 7 to 10 distractions per day. But did you know it impacts your day by 11 minutes per distraction? But where it gets even worse, it takes you on average 23 minutes to get back into the zone of what you were doing before you were distracted. But if you... Yo, gimbal bro, stay with me here. Stay with me. I'm going to put this on manual mode. So much more better. There we go. I have control. Yeah, so what? 23 minutes to get back into the zone of what you were doing. But if you average that over the course of the week, you lose 8.5 hours a week from being distracted. That's like a whole freaking day that you could be doing extra stuff. So this is why a lot of reps are trying to cram in as much work within 4 days and they feel overloaded. And it's around time management. So I'm a huge fan of time blocking and using my calendar. And I like to color code it so that in the event, if I get distracted by anybody, I can look back at my calendar, kind of like a gym plan, to remind myself what I need to do so I can quickly get back into the zone. Whoa, hello. This is live TikTok. Anything can go down, from gimbals moving to packets of crisps flying at me and crumbs all over my kitchen table. That's where you are today, in my kitchen. Welcome. I'm not cooking, but I'm cooking something good, which is sales advice and free sales coaching advice for you all. Anyway, getting back into time blocking. So the way that I look at time blocks within your calendar, right? As humans or as people, on average, we cannot keep our attention for more than 30 to 60 minutes before we get bored and before we get distracted and come on to a TikTok live with this guy called Neil that you've never met before. But if you've never met me before, please make sure that you give a like, a heart, and a follow on the TikTok and let people know that I am your favorite sales coach. So when I put stuff into my calendar, if we look at the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Mondays and Fridays are typically what I call the admin days. This is when like work comes in, where people are either coming back from the weekend or they're getting ready for the weekend. So this is where admin and stuff can be done. But then you have the core focus of the week where you get sales stuff done. And I'll break you down how I do this. So on a Monday, typically start in the morning. I'm going to be going to the gym in the morning, and then I set 3 daily goals for that day. And that goal could be either personal or it could be business. So it could be go out for lunch, step away from the laptop, step away from the phone. It could be put on some laundry and get some washing done if you're working from home. Or it could be, I want to book a business meeting. I set those goals, then I have a caffeine hit, maybe a little bit of trip. I'm not advertising, but I do like CBD drinks. If you want to buy me a gift, I love CBD drinks. Anyway, shouts out to my boy Hash, shouts out to Dilf, shouts out to Roy, shouts out to user, I'm going to just say 5661, shouts out to Derek Plant, shouts out to everyone. My name is Neil to the B. I am your favorite sales coach, and I am an MC/rapper. Why I can talk so fast. Anyway, set my 3 daily goals, and then I'll sit down with my sales team to have a sync and just say, hey gang, like what were the channels that helped you book meetings for business last week? Was it LinkedIn? Was it email? Give me some inspiration. Then I sit down with my manager and like have a one-to-one with them and said, hey boss, this was my performance last week. Where do you think I should be focusing this week? Give me some guidance. And then I would sit down with my account executive. So these are the people that would, do the demos and close the deals of the pipe that I'm generating. And rather than just having a 30-minute saying, hey, how's your weekend been? And all of this sort of stuff. I don't know who this is. Invites me to co-host. Do you know what? Oh, this is new. Who's that? Me.
How are you? How
I'm
are
very
you?
well, man. This is my first time I'm co-hosting with someone. What do we do? Where are you, Mia?
How are you?
I am very well. And where are you in the world?
You are from?
I'm from London, England.
England, Nasser. We are from Pakistan. I from Pakistan.
From Pakistan. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. कैसे हो? ठीक ठाक हो?
Tik tak.
जी है शेरा जी.
But Mia, what do you do on TikTok live?
सेहत की सलाह ठीक ठाक हो?
Tik tak. I don't speak too much Urdu.
We cannot speak English as well as Urdu.
Okay. Well, what can we do? How does this work?
Urdu.
Urdu nahi, I don't have Urdu. I'm Bengali.
Punjabi या Urdu?
What about Bangladeshi?
No, Bangladesh नहीं, Pakistani.
Pakistani.
Me, Bangladeshi.
Okay, good.
Bangladeshi in London.
अच्छा लंदन बांग्लादेश तो लंदन से ओके गुड हो गया आप
Brothers, we are brothers.
Yeah, we're all brothers to an extent.
मौसम कैसा है
Mossam Kasab. I don't know what that means.
Weather, how is
वेदर
Yeah, no, weather's cool, bro. How do I flip this around? TikTok.
वाओ वाओ ब्यूटीफुल
Thank you.
नाइट
Right,
Night.
so if anybody that's watching this from my side, I've never done any one of these ones before. So this is
उधर नाइट या डे इधर नाइट
how the hell does this work? So what are we supposed to do? A game here, or how does this work? English,
नो पाकिस्तानी उर्दू पंजाबी
but no Bengali.
नो
No,
इंग्लिश नो उर्दू ओके
Urdu. Okay. Hold on. Maybe we can use this. Maybe people we can use a bit of Chat GPT. I'm being tested, man. I'm being tested. Yo, chat. How would I say in Urdu? How do
Yo,
I
नीचे
put this TikTok live?
सजाद माई कैसी हो
Sorry, guys. I don't know what anybody's saying.
मारे लंबी लाइन
So, main TikTok live. I think I've got a bounce on this, man. I don't know how this is working. What is going on? Take turns to perform up to 90 seconds. Boost your score to I don't know. If any of the people on the chat, if you can tell me how the hell this thing works, because your bro here, Neil, has never done one of these TikTok lives before. I don't know what's going on. How do I exit? How do I start? How do I get in? I don't know what I'm doing. Peeps, I need some help. In the chat, let me know, how do you do this thing? What the hell? Yo, peeps, if anybody's on the chat, I was in the midway of like some sales coaching, and I got my guy here from Pakistan. I think we're back just to me. Are we just back to me? I think it's just back to me. If there's anybody in the chat that can tell me how that just worked or what it was, I don't know what I was doing. But this is live TikTok and Anyway, let's go back to what I was talking about with time management, right? So yeah, so the point I was saying is that I'm blocking my beginning of my day, right? So I've met with my team, I met with my manager, then I sit down with my account executives. So what I want to do when I sit down with my account executives is say to them like, cool, Inez, imagine if you're one of my account executives. I say, Inez, give me 10 accounts you want me to go after, because I'd rather go book meetings and companies you want rather than cold accounts. And then when it got to about 11:30, only at 11:30 would I be checking my inbox and emails. So a lot of reps, the struggle that I see them do is they check the emails first thing in the morning. But the problem with that is you then go into an email and then you see an objection, then you see a question, then you see another stakeholder being added, and you're going back and forth, back and forth. And then you spend about 45 minutes trying to reply to these emails. It skews the rest of your day. So what I'd rather do is wait till I get to about 11:30 and I get all my important things on a Monday morning first to help set the tone. Then I can check my emails. But then, Neil, what happens if there's an important prospect or a prospect meeting or something like that? Say, cool, here's the thing. My phone number is in the signature. If it's really an emergency, they can always call me. If not, they can wait till I get all my important stuff done first. Then I'm going to hit about lunchtime and I make sure that I step away from my laptop for lunch. I go outside or I go sit in another room. Detach from your screen, man, because if you're in front of a screen all day long, it will burn you out. Anywho, after lunch on a Monday, I then come back in, either have another caffeine here or another trip. Again, I'm not sponsoring or endorsing or selling anything like this. Once I've done that, I'm then going to get into my building. So I used to do this in called 5x5. So if you're using sequencing or prospecting tools where you get automated emails and steps to when you're calling and all of that, I would look for 5 target accounts or 5 companies to add into my prospecting sequence. But per company, I'd be adding at least 5 job titles within that account. So it could be CEO, head of finance, head of IT, head of HR, CFO, because on average there are 5 to 11 decision makers or influencers within a B2B sales cycle. So the more people I can add into account, the better likelihood I have of booking a meeting. Once I've added all those people in, my 5x5, that gives me 25 net new prospects for that day. I would then be a video first type of guy. So I do video prospecting. So I'd record videos for my prospects, but not everybody in those accounts would get a video from Neil. But the C-level, the VPs, the VIPs within those accounts would get a personalized prospecting message in there as well. Shouts out to everybody that's joined in and checked in for the live. And I don't know what happened with my first ever co-creator TikTok live. Thank you for standing by. I was confused, hella confused. But you now know that I am of Bangladeshi origin as well. And I can speak a little bit of Bengali and a little bit of Urdu. But once I've done my videos, I would then, start prepping for the next day. So if I'm going to be doing cold calling, and let's say Tuesday morning is cold calling, what I don't want to be doing in those days is looking for the phone numbers, email addresses, and intel to use when I'm cold calling. I want to be doing it the day before, and I want to do it the night before, kind of like a meal prep for gym the next day, or when you're prepping your lunch for the next day. That's what you're doing for your call lists. Once I've done all that prep, then I'm going to check my inbox another time, maybe by 4:30, to catch up any loose ends or anything that needs replying to. And then what I want to do is do my admin and shutdown at the end of the day. So here I'm going to make sure everything's been answered. I've got all my calls, my lists, and everything ready for tomorrow. And this helps reduce the anxiety by the end of the day of stuff that wasn't finished. And then I can shut my laptop and go live my normal life at the end of my working day. But then the important bit is to review my 3 goals that I set at the beginning of the day. So at the beginning of the day, I said, I want to go out for lunch. I want to put some washing on, and I want to book a meeting. Did I put the washing on? Yes. 3 loads? Awesome sauce. Did I go out for lunch? I did. I sat on my balcony and I got a bit of bento. But did I book a meeting? No, I didn't. Why didn't I? I then looked back at my calendar and asked myself, what got in the way of that day? And let's make sure it doesn't happen tomorrow, right? So that's like a Monday. Now, if we get into the core of the week, the beginning of the morning would be cold calling. The mistake, or not so much a mistake, a bad habit that I've seen with cold callers is what they're doing is they're trying to do a cold call list of 30 to 40 calls in one big block. Now, you can break this down into sets, maybe sets of 10. So maybe the first set of 10 are the shit leads where you can make some mistakes and fluff your lines to warm up your vocals when you start getting into your rhythm of cold calling. Take a minute break, then go in for the next 10. And maybe these are more senior or more important leads. After that, take another minute break. Maybe you got hit with some objections and you can sit down and write them and ask yourself, how can I overcome that objection next time I get hit with it on the phone? Okay, cool. I've got a rebuttal. I'm ready to rock and roll. Then you go in for your last 10. And these are perhaps the C-level, the VIP, the important leads, where you're fully versed, bro. Hit me with your biggest objection. I can handle it. And that's a better way of doing it in sets rather than one big long list of cold calling. But one thing that I'm not doing when I'm cold calling is sending follow-up emails, invites, all of that stuff. Because the time taken to write an email, I could have made a couple more calls. So after my call block, I then have another block for my admin. And this is where I'm going to be sending the follow-ups, the emails and stuff like that. But what we also know in sales is not every cold call block is going to result in a meeting. But imagine if you get off the block and you go to check your inbox at that designated time of 11:30, somebody responds to one of your prospecting messages and says they want to book a meeting. And we go, hi, Poppy, lovely to see you join. And that gives you a boost of confidence if you haven't had a wicked cold call block. And then in the afternoons, I'm rinsing and repeating. I'm building my 5x5. I'm doing my video prospecting messages. I'm responding to emails, and I'm doing that. But then let's get to the end of the week when it's Friday, which is another admin day, right? So in the morning on a Friday, I'm catching up with the team. Hey, gang, where did you book meetings? Hey, you got a deal closed. Boost morale, team, all that jazz. Then I sit down with my boss, and my boss, I'm like, cool, this was my performance this week. This is what I struggled with, but this is what I've improved on. Where do you think I should be focusing my efforts next week? Again, give me some sort of guidance and direction. But with those account executives or the closers that take my meetings that I'm booking for them, I would then say, like, look, of those 10 accounts that you gave me this week, I booked 8 of them. Happy days! But the other 2 accounts that you gave me, they're kind of small. They're not really in our ideal customer profile. I think we should scrap them out the list. But next week, come to me with some fresh accounts. Delegate your co-pilot that you're working with, right? Because they're going to give you the stuff they want you to go hunt for. But the important bit was towards the end of the week. So something I learned very early in my career, which I'd love to impart upon you all, is my personal development. It was not my boss's job, nor was it my company's job. My personal development was personally my job, right? So what I used to do on a Friday is carve out 2 hours for my own learning to upskill myself. I would go listen to 2 cold calls from my peers to hear how do they speak to prospects, how do they handle objections, and even the top performers are callers as well, right? So I'd listen to their calls. And then I'd either go watch a demo by one of my account executives, because what I wanted to learn was how do they speak to stakeholders? How do they talk about our platform? How do they pitch? How do they handle objections? How do they talk about pricing? Because the reality was, when you're a brand new sales rep, none of this stuff is really going to make sense if you just watch an onboarding video or a 30-minute demo, which is online. No. Watch your peers that sell it day in, day out, and that's where you can learn about your product over time. And then what I used to love doing was either watching or listening to podcasts about human psychology, because in sales, it's all about human interactions. And there's this quote, people buy from people. But the bit they miss is people buy from people that understand them. So knowing how to hold a meaningful conversation, knowing how to recognize somebody that's performed well within their company and business, and take what John Barrett says, the give a shit factor in that person. So these are all things that help me with my salesmanship. So, over the course of the week, we can get distracted. 7 to 10 distractions a day impacts your day by 11 minutes. And, it takes you 23 minutes to get back in zone. But using your calendar, you can literally color code it to make sure that you stay focused. And again, what works best is 30 to 60-minute blocks max, not long 2-3 hours. I'm going to cold call in this. With the best of intentions, you may do, but it probably won't happen because after 30 or 60 minutes, you get bored and then you get distracted. Yeah? Cool. So that was another one. This has been an awesome TikTok live. We've got some people joining in. We've got Mr. M. Thank you very much for waving. Shouts out to Poppy. Shouts out to Kajan. Shouts out to Derek. Shouts out to everyone. And shouts out to the 2 guys from Pakistan that added me to one of their TikTok lives where I've never done anything like that and I didn't know what to speak. And I knew a little bit Urdu, but not fully Urdu. And I could speak Bengali, but they didn't speak Bengali. And they screwed with my head a little bit. But they were nice people. So it's always cool to meet people online. Again, my name is Neil to the B. I am your favorite sales coach from Happy Selling. I help SDRs, account executives, founders to become happy sellers. And I do that through sales training and sales coaching. And yes, you can book me as your personal sales coach. If you want to fill out one of these forms or DM me, I can show you more details. You can also find me on LinkedIn. You can also, no, I'm going to decline other people that invite me to their TikTok lives. I'm not doing that yet. I'm having fun doing my own. Yeah, I can be like that. Anyway, also, I've got a YouTube channel which has a video podcast on there, which has insights and stories from people that have just come into tech sales. It's for people that are brand new to sales. If you want to go check it out on LinkedIn. Make sure that you subscribe. And I'm always looking for guests. There is a requisite for guests. I would want you to be in sales for no more than 2 years. You're ideally in the SDR or SDR or BDR position. And you work in the tech sales and you've got a cool story to share. It's not a tactical podcast about tips on how to book meetings and how to get to President's Club. There's some really good podcasts that do that. I'm more interested in the people's story and their journey and what made them get into sales and how have they found it. Where's their mental health been at? Where's their mindset been at? What cool lessons or what big fuck ups have they had? Those are the cool things that I like to have on my podcast. And we've done over 109 episodes and season 12 will soon to become. But a little bit of history on that. Podcast has been around near enough 5 years, almost 110 episodes, 150,000 downloads in over 80 countries, and it's available on Apple, Spotify. I'm the host, and I've had guests from lots of different places. So go check it out. It's on my YouTube channel. The next coaching session I wanted to go into that I had today was, okay, so there was this beautiful rep who worked in the ERP space. That's Enterprise Resource Planning. Let's just talk about billing system, SAP, Oracle, that kind of space, right? Shouts out to Little Mummy. Shouts out to you. Shouts out to Kajan. Shouts out to everyone. So this person, they're in sales. They're working in business development. And when I caught up with them last month, they were not in a good place. They were well below target. Their morale was not cool because their mind wasn't in a cool place because there was personal stuff going on in life. And the thing that I've noticed when people come into coaching sessions, they're like, no, I'm not on target. I need to, all of this. And they come up with all this. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to get good at prospecting. I need to get good at cold calling. But I sense something. And this is another thing I'd love to share with you to help when people are asking how they are. Normally when you're in work and you ask somebody, how are you doing? The first thing they talk about is work. Yeah, meetings are going good. It's been a tough month and all of that. And I'm like, cool. I'm going to ask you again in the spirit of mental health. How are you? And sometimes what happens at this point, people are just like, yeah, do you know what? Life's been shit. It's been a bit tough recently. Because most people can't talk about this stuff when they're at work, or they may not feel open to do that. And for somebody that is a sales coach, I have 100% confidentiality where I don't share details of that person, who they are, or anything like that. I can talk about themes, but I won't say their name specifically. But sometimes you can't talk to your boss or manager about this in fear of losing your job or it causing any eyes looking towards you. So I asked this person, are you cool? And they were just like, they're not. And you're the first person to ask me that. And I said, because I've been there. I've gone through traumas in my own life. And I know when I can see somebody not in a good place. But anyway, the point that I was getting onto was, I just said to them, like, look, I can do you all the coaching stuff, but let's talk about, like, is there anything that you want to offload? And to state, I am not a trained psychologist or therapist in any way. I do go to therapy and I really advocate for therapy. It's a really great thing to do. I do it weekly. But I just said, look, tell me what's going on. And this person then had an opportunity to tell me what was going on in their life, personal things and stuff like this. And this went on for about half an hour. And they were worried that we weren't going to do sales stuff. And I said, forget the sales stuff for a minute. Like, talk, vent, offload. And this went on for 30 minutes. And at the end of it, that person just said, you know what? It's just so nice talking it out and speaking to somebody that works in my industry and knows the stress I've got, because my friends and family don't get this shit with sales. And I'm like, yeah, I've been there. And once we had got through that, they were then able to focus on the work bits, because again, once your head's in gear, then work will be better. But when your head's not in gear, then it bleeds, and that whatever's going on in your life will bleed into your work. But there is a silver lining to all of this. So we got on to track and saying, how do we get back on target? Caught up with them today, like literally 3 weeks later, and they advised that they're 128% over their monthly target. They've also booked in 3 meetings, and they said, you're right, I had to get this into gear, and then everything else kind of fell into place. So they really appreciate these sessions, and I love having sessions that with people. Sales coaching is like sales therapy, and I've learned a lot from therapy that I can then incorporate into my coaching sessions with people. And then it led me on to my final coaching session of the day. So this person is a closer. They're 360. They do prospecting and they close deals. And they came into this and they just seemed like a bit of a hot mess. Like they just didn't see themselves. And they're telling me all the things they need help with today. And I did that thing of, can I just ask, sales aside, are you okay? And they paused. And I said, no, not really. And I told them about the other person I was speaking about, not again, their personal details, but kind of the vibe they were in. And then we spent 45 minutes talking about stuff going on, things are changing in the company, it's making them feeling a little bit unnerved. You know, they're constantly knocking themselves, there's self-deprecating talk about themselves. And we discussed and opened all of these. And then I shared things, and I think that's the cool thing where as a coach, I'm able to do a little bit of disclosure and say, I've been through that similar thing, or I had this thing happen to me as well. And it builds a little bit of rapport between you and the person that you're helping. And then they're able to be vulnerable and explain things. And then it was just like a light bulb. And they said, right, so now this is what I want to do in my sales stuff. Can you help me with this? And we spent another 45 minutes going through cold calling, going through prospecting, going through building sequences, going through what strategy they should be using when they're chatting to their VP of sales next about their pipeline reviews. And they just always, at the end of the session, people either say to me, I really needed this session, or I didn't know what to expect in this session, but this session was definitely helpful. And I get to do that 30 to 40 people a week from different spaces and different places and different faces and different regions and different companies and all of that. And I freaking love it. I think that's like one of my values, or where I bring value to people is, being a former sales manager, I would have one team and we'd be selling one product. When I then became a sales trainer, I would typically be working one project at a time, similar to like one team, one company, they're selling one product. But then over the last 8 years, but more so in the last 2 or 3 years, I've become a sales coach, where it's more like the sales therapist. And I'll explain the difference between sales training and sales like coaching in a moment. But I have the privilege of meeting 30 to 40 salespeople a week that all work in different companies. Some are what we call SDRs, some are BDRs, some are account executives, some are founders of their own company and they're doing all the sales and business development. And that's why my learning has skyrocketed, because I'm not just in one pot. I'm in multiple pots throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year. And over the last year, like over 2,500 salespeople that I've got to coach, train and manage. Boom, I'm learning. So coming into what is the difference between sales training and sales coaching. If anybody out there has driven a car or had driving lessons, this is sales training. So sales training is you want to get a license to drive. So you go meet an instructor, you take a couple of driving lessons, you typically then have a driving test, and then you get a license. So that is sales training. You know, whiteboards, PowerPoints, presentations, taking you through how we do this, like driving a car. But when it comes to sales coaching, it's the case of you already have the car. You already have the license, but you're looking to go from London to New York somehow by a car. And you see me, and I'm driving in my car like this, and you say, hey, Neil, I'm looking to go to, New York. What advice would you give me on this journey? And I'd be like, what's in your sat nav? And you say, well, I'm going from here to here, here, going on the Eurotunnel, then flying over, then getting on a plane, and doing this. I'm like, all right, cool. I'd be like, cool, so this is a route that I took, but I think what you got is fine. Why don't you give me a shout when you get onto the other side? So they then do their journey, and then they reach New York, and they said, hey, Neil, so I'm in the Big Apple. Do you know what? I liked your advice on this, but actually I did this, and this. But next time that I go, to London to New York, I think I'm just going to get a plane ticket. Okay, cool. That's sales coaching. So you come with the questions. You seek to get perspective from somebody that's already done that journey, and this coach then helps you come to a conclusion. So I help you come to the conclusion of the thoughts that you're already thinking, and I'm just more like a sounding board, right? So that's the difference between sales training, and that is the difference between sales coaching. Shouts out to Debbie Joe. Shouts out to you and your crew. Thank you to everybody that's been watching me ramble on for God knows, I don't even know how long I've been talking. But again, my name is Neil to the B. I am your favorite sales coach. I've worked 15 years in tech sales. I have my own company called HappySelling.io, and my job and my mission in life and in business is to create a world of happy sellers, and I do that by sales training and sales coaching. I am a one-man band, but I also freelance with another company called My Sales Coach, where they're my customer and I help their customers. But yeah, I just like helping people. And one of the goals in my life in the last 3 years that I kind of said is I don't want to be a billionaire. I want to help 1 billion people. That for me is more exciting and more fun. And you may ask, well, how would you do that? I would like to help 1 billion people by either doing sales training or coaching in one-to-one sessions or groups where I go out to companies. I'm happy to travel internationally. I've done it a lot of times, but also through my podcast, also through my LinkedIn content, also coming onto TikTok Live. I don't know half of you people, but I'm grateful for you for chiming in. And if any of this resonates, or if any of this you feel could help somebody, share it or share my profile. You know, it's not all about me just trying to find clients. I've got enough. I'm happy where I'm eating, but I could always have some more. I just want to try and help as many people, because before I came into sales, I thought it was very cutthroat, narcissistic. It's all about money, target. It's more than that. You get to meet so many really cool people, right? I've met founders and CEOs of companies that have been built. I've worked with the people that helped build eBay, PayPal, Salesforce.com. And I've lived an entrepreneurial journey, and I'm also consider myself as an entrepreneur dad. I've got a little boy, and everything I do is so that one day I have a vehicle and future for him. Do I want him to go into sales? Probably not. He's more into performing and theatre, which I love seeing him do. But I also have a performance background as well. Outside of sales, I'm an MC/rapper. And I've been doing that for 20, 30 years. And I also have another TikTok on my music, which is Snipes Music, if you want to go check that as well and see me spit some bars. But I try not to blend the two worlds too close together, because it does confuse some people. But I am a sales coach that spits bars, peeps. But yeah, it's been a great day. This has been a great one so far. Again, if you've never met me before, my name is Neil to the B. I am your favorite sales coach from Happy Selling. This has been an awesome TikTok Live. I'm going to go through the list of all the people. Derek Plant, shouts out to you. Shouts out to Debbie Joe. Shouts out to Kajan. Shouts out to Poppy. Shouts out to Mr. M. Shouts out to Kaz. User 80163165561. Got there. Shouts out to Has. Shouts out to Roy. Shouts out to the Dilfs. We are Dilfs. Shouts out to Inez. Shouts out to Erin. Shouts out to everybody that's joined in, and to the people with Russian names that I cannot read or pronounce, but I send respect. And thank you very much, comrades. But my name is Neil to the B. If you want to follow me on TikTok, please do. Or if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, feel free to reach out. If you've got any messages, send me a DM, connect me on LinkedIn, or go check me out on my YouTube. I am available on all platforms from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, you name it, I'm on it. But thank you so much. And I don't know when I'll next be on for a live, but if you want to see more lives, or if you've got any topics that you think, Neil, could you talk about this on a live? That would help me the hell out, rather than me just rambling about what I think and what I know and what I do. I want to help as many more people, so let me know, give me some inspiration. But I want to say thank you very much, and most importantly to everybody out there, happy selling.